Welcome back to Property Pulse, your real estate podcast, where we explore investment trends, opportunities, and strategies for you to stay ahead in the real estate market. My name is Clement Ifeanyi, and I have here with me
Jerry Okoh.
Mr. Jerry. You're welcome to Property Pulse.
Thank you very much.
In our last section, we talked about the challenges and strategies on how to stay ahead of those challenges in real estate, especially in Lagos. So today we're going to be diving into the booming real estate investment that is shaping the Lagos real estate, the off-plan investment. So Mr. Jerry, now when we talk about off-plan, what do you think off-plan is all about?
Well, off-plan is all about buying a property before it is even finished.
Okay.
Most times before it even starts. So an off-plan project is one that has not even begun. And smart investors are already looking at ways to key into it before it's even coming out into the market fully.
Wow. That's great. So whether you are a savvy investor trying to secure an off-plan investment, or you want to know why Lagos is a hotspot for this investment strategy, all you need to do is stay on this podcast. So, Mr. Jerry, back to you. I want to throw more light on what off-plan really is. I want the viewers to really know why they need to invest in off-plan and why they should choose Lagos.
Well, off-plan is actually one of the best ways to actually invest in Lagos State, especially if you're looking at buying developed properties.
Yes.
So, for example, you're looking at a property that you're buying at an affordable rate, which is one of the advantages of buying off-plan projects or properties. Because you're buying at a price that is almost half the original price in the market. So what you're doing is the developers are actually introducing this product into the market, and as an early investor, you're already making profits just by buying into it before it's even made so popular or the product is completed. Now, why we actually prefer, for some of us as well as my investors, why we actually prefer off-plan projects is because another benefit is you can actually decide on how you want the layout of your own house to be like.
Wow.
Yes, you can actually decide to say, okay, you know what, I want my kitchen in this area, I want this size of living room, I want this size of bedroom, change my 3-bedroom to 2 bedrooms.
That means let me come in quickly. Yes. That means if I'm actually buying an off-plan or buying into an off-plan project, I can tell the developer what exactly I want.
Yes, you're allowed to tweak it, whatever you want.
What if that project is originally designed to be a 4-bedroom, probably maybe a 4-bedroom duplex? I can decide, so okay, I want mine to be a 3-bedroom. So is that going to affect the exterior design, or is just going to be inside?
Oh, so there's nothing with there's no issue with the exterior design.
Okay.
The exterior design remains the same.
Okay.
What happens is just the interior design, the features here and there, to suit the taste of the investor.
Wow.
So it doesn't affect whatever the exterior design, original plan, or the exterior design actually is.
Okay.
Yes. So you're looking at a situation where you can decide and say, okay, I want this to happen in this space, or I want my master's bedroom on this other side. But the only layout you're changing is what's happening inside.
Wow.
Right, nothing affecting the exterior. Right. So another advantage again of buying off plan is if you're buying for the sake of reselling, for example, by the time the project is completed, you are actually going to be selling at almost twice the price that you bought originally. So also smart investors are also looking at opportunities of actually raking in funds. So you say, okay, I'm buying at this XYZ amount, and in a period of time, you're selling at a higher amount. So you're getting quick returns in a very short time out of the market.
Wow. So that means this part of investment, I think not everybody knows about it. I don't know about it anyway. I have to buy an off-plan project from a developer. Then when that project is completed, I resell.
Yes, because so it has its own risk here and there.
Okay.
I think a lot of why it's not so popular is because of the concerns that people have.
Yes.
But if you're looking at people who are actually ready to invest, who have been investing, and understand how it works,
Yes.
they actually prefer to buy these properties when it's not even out there for the public.
Yeah.
When they don't, when you're not even sure, you see nothing.
Yeah.
You're not even sure when they're going to start.
Because I'm so concerned about the risk. I'm so concerned about the risk.
Okay.
You know, at times you ask people to come buy a property
Yes.
when you know the property. Most of the times you just go there, it's just background.
Yes.
And you see probably maybe a 3D video, a graphic design showing you how this property is going to be in the next 2 years, in the next 12 months, in the next 18 months.
Yes.
And I wonder how do people have this kind of mind to invest?
I understand the fears. I understand the fears, but so there are different kinds of investors.
Okay.
Right? And they're the ones that actually love to take the risk.
Yes.
Now the higher the risk, sometimes the higher the pay.
Yes, exactly.
Or the return on investment.
Yeah.
So now, when you're very careful with real estate investment, the truth is you
will never
exactly.
You will never invest.
So we're looking at people that are saying, okay, you know what? There is nothing here right now.
Yes.
But I know within the next 12 months, 18 months, or 24 months, there'll be some changes in this place. And you're promising me that project that I've seen the 3D design, you know, at a lower price.
Okay.
The truth is, what we see as investors is not what is on ground. It's a finished product.
Yes.
Right? We're already seeing the return on investment before the project even starts.
Yes.
So smart investors are actually looking for opportunities to buy it when it's non-existent. So by the time you're coming in later to say, okay, they've reached first floor or second floor, it means that there's progress. You are buying at the price that we're not buying at. We bought way more affordable than whatever it is you're buying at that time. So for smart investors, they like to buy it when it's just coming into the market.
Wow.
By the time you're coming in to buy, they've already started making profit.
Yeah.
Right? You understand? So now I understand the risk part of it.
That's the main reason why we invited you in here.
So the concern,
because we know you're a developer. You understand me, and from our research, we know you have products out there that are off plan. You understand, and we know you have successfully delivered most of those projects, and some are still in the pipeline. And that is why we brought you in here to actually tell these people, how do you do this stuff? How do you collect people's money, and then you can be able to sleep at night? And then at the end of the day, you deliver their product to them. Because most of the time it sounds crazy.
Yes, it is.
It sounds unrealistic. Sure. You understand? And that's why we called you in to hear from you. How do you do this stuff? How do you sleep at night?
So the thing is, I think it all boils down to reputation.
Okay.
You're taking people's money.
Yes.
And you understand that these are people's money. I think that's the first thing to understand.
People's money.
People's money.
People's money.
Now, revenue generated or cash flow is not profit. So when you take people's money and you divert the funds, it becomes a problem.
That's one of the problems here. We know there are most developers, as soon as they go into development, you see them changing cars.
La vida loca.
You see them traveling. You see them going on vacations.
Exactly.
Forgetting that this monies,
because they confuse inflow for profits. The truth is, you may have money in your account. It doesn't mean you have money. Until you've delivered on a particular project or on a promise you've given to your people, you've not made money. So if you mistake what's coming into the company's account as company's money or your money, by the time you're supposed to deliver on the project, you're stuck. So that's why I said integrity matters in this business.
And another thing. I think I had the meeting with some set of realtors, and we're discussing about this off-plan issue. I think another challenge that most developers face when it comes to off-plan is the realtors.
Okay.
A realtor mentioned to me, said, most of those developers, because they want you as a realtor to sell their product, they come in and are probably maybe bringing a bit that is going to attract you, which we call incentive. You get? And at the end of the day, using the whole money that was supposed to be used for a project to entice you. So how do you manage situations like that?
Desperation on the side of the developer.
Yes.
To sell. Now, when people are desperate to sell, they do whatever it is that they can do to actually sell. I think the easiest thing to do is, instead of being desperate, just deliver. Right? If you actually deliver on your promise, the realtors will actually come, because at the end of the day, this is your client.
Yes.
You
Yes.
don't want to lose the client as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you have a client that has given you money.
Yes.
If you fail to deliver on this promise,
Yes.
you've lost that person
Hmm.
completely. Now, because of whatever incentive or commission you're going to get, you cannot jeopardize a relationship you built with a client over the years because of incentive.
And the funny thing about it is, this will tell this.
Of
This
course.
will tell this.
Of course.
This will tell this.
Of course. So why promise what you can't give? Why promise incentive? Because one people will come in to help you sell your product, and then you give out incentives that are crazy, and at the end of the day, you're unable to meet up with delivery or delivery date
Yes.
or timeline you're giving to your clients. So I think it's just desperation.
So that brings me into another question. When it comes to delivery date, how do you manage situations whereby probably we know things happen, you get, there's some things you cannot control yourself,
Very
right?
true.
There's some things beyond our controls. Now,
Very true.
maybe you actually you promised your clients that you're going to deliver the property to them at 18 months,
Okay.
and then you exceed 18 months.
Okay.
How do you manage situations like that?
Okay, so I think these things happen.
Okay.
But you can actually find a way around all of this. One, for example, if I am going to deliver a project in every 18 months,
Okay.
I'll tell you 24 months.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's for me.
Hmm.
Now, if I'm unable to deliver this project within 18 months, right? I already told you 24 months. So I like to on the promise.
So you have some months that
Exactly.
you've
promise,
bought enough time
over-deliver.
for yourself.
Yes. So if I'm able to do it at 18 months,
Yes.
good and fine.
Hmm.
I'm at an advantage.
Yes, yes.
Now, but what about a situation where you can't do anything about it? So I think the best thing to do at that point is before the time, you will know that this project will not finish at this particular time. The best thing to do is to reach out to these people and let them understand the challenges you're facing.
Yeah.
If 18 months come, for example,
Yes.
they'll call.
Yes.
And it will be so sad, and they'll feel bad that at that particular time that you promised,
Yes.
you're not meeting up, you're not fulfilling. So you disappointed them, and that's because they even reached out to you. So before they reach out to you, I think the best thing to do is to reach out to them,
Yeah,
and explain to them the situation, and appeal to them to give you maybe the number of months it's going to take you to complete it. So I think in this business, transparency is actually very, very important, right? Because the person that buys from you today,
yes,
will buy from you tomorrow.
exactly. Yes.
And if you don't treat the person well today, there is no way he will come back to buy from you tomorrow. And our businesses also grow on referrals. If I treat you well, you'll tell your friend about it, or tell your neighbor about it. But if I don't treat you well, how do I expect you to come back? So transparency is really, really important in this business.
Yeah, yeah. You've really, would I say, you've burst my bubbles with all you just said. Now, a situation whereby, we've had a lot of investors who want to reinvest, but they are looking for these so-called big developers.
Okay.
And these guys tend to hide under the umbrella of, we have delivered in the past, so you can still trust us. At the end of the day, they fail these people. What do you think?
So we have this issue a lot in the real estate space,
Yes.
where people believe that time equals integrity, right? So you've had a good history, or this company has their own history. Before we got into development, of course, we were realtors.
Okay.
We faced some challenges as well.
So you tend to understand.
Of course. We've had disappointments from these people.
Yeah.
And now, so most of these new companies that are coming up to start developing are trying to correct the mistakes of the past. The things that we've seen these people do.
Let me cut you on that.
Okay.
I think being a realtor before switching into becoming a developer,
yes,
I think there's a plus on that.
Of course, there's a plus on that.
Because you understand what you faced.
Completely.
You wouldn't want people selling for you to actually face the same thing.
Exactly.
You know the lapses these guys were not able to cover. So you're coming in to correct those mistakes.
Very true. We've seen that a lot.
Perfect.
Our clients have complained about things. We've seen delays. We've seen disappointments. So it's easy for us to say, okay, you know what? These are the issues that are being faced.
Mm-hmm.
We identify them,
Mm-hmm.
and we come into the business trying to correct these mistakes.
Mm.
Now, if your total dependence or total support is for those who have been doing for a very long time, good and fine. But the new ones also need an opportunity to actually prove themselves. Now, the old one you're talking about, at some point, has to be trusted by some persons to show the track record.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Right?
That's what I'm trying to say.
Exactly. So,
because the old ones tend to be the ones who disappoint.
Because they believe that they already have
a name.
Now, you are new, you're trying to build your name.
Yes.
Your name is
you do everything possible
to make sure that you deliver as promised.
You don't sleep at night.
No, you don't sleep at night. Of course, as a developer, you really don't sleep at night.
Wow.
Yeah, because you're on cost 247. Sometimes you have to actually intentionally turn off your phone to sleep. Because while you're talking to people in Nigeria, you have clients in other countries, different time zone, right? Okay, so take for example, I have someone in Vietnam call, and the time difference, of course, is still there. They have someone in maybe Australia talking to you, and the US talking to you.
Yeah.
So you really don't sleep, and you can't disappoint these people. You are giving them something. You made a promise to them. You have to deliver on this promise completely. If not, for a new company who has failed, of course, you know that
there's nothing for you.
It's not for you in the market. Exactly. So
is it that you go back to be a realtor?
Exactly.
And nobody's going to
even as a realtor, you won't even make.
You won't even excel anyway because people already know you. That guy. He was once the guy was a realtor. He switched into being a developer.
The realtor that will buy from you.
Yes.
Well, you're just a realtor. There's someone that will buy from you when you're not a developer.
That's funny.
So if you disappointed me as a developer,
yes,
I wouldn't even trust you with one area.
So more or less, this thing is more or less like a cycle.
It is a cycle.
Like a cycle. Okay. Having talked about that, and I want to ask. We know off-plan is a very good investment without being told. You've cleared the air. You've made us understand why you should think of investing in an off-plan. I know most people are still scared, but because of what you said, I think most people are going to really understand that off-plan is the big thing.
Yes.
Off-plan is the big thing.
Yes.
Why is off-plan booming in Lagos?
So the housing issue in Lagos is still high. We still have more persons, we have less houses.
Wow.
We've not been able to satisfy the house deficit in Lagos State. And if you check very well, people come into Lagos almost every day. And these people are willing to get places to live in. But now we have less houses and more people.
Wow.
Right? So, first and foremost, Oakland is booming. The development market is actually booming. So now why Oakland is actually booming is because now you have an opportunity to buy a property in a location that on a normal day it should be up there. And because the developer is coming into the market with a new product, right? He's giving you basically for trusting me.
Yes.
Before seeing the finished product, this is what you stand to benefit. So you're coming in and you're buying at a time when people are supposed to doubt. But you have trusted me enough to say, okay, I will buy from you and wait to see what you will deliver to me. Right? So that's the benefit. So now, why the market is actually booming is because we need houses in Lagos.
Okay.
And when there's one springing up somewhere, people are really ready to run into it, And the cost of living in Lagos, the cost of apartments, rentals, Airbnb, is actually on rise.
Wow!
So investors see this and they see money. Imagine what happened in December. How many billion people actually spent just between December and January for Airbnb
in Lagos?
In Lagos, right now, Lagos real estate, or just the real estate market is actually being rated above the oil and gas sector.
Wow. I saw that on news. I was like, are you for real?
People are spending so much just to live in houses. It's not cheap anymore. So there's so much that they can get from the upland projects. Until tomorrow, check everywhere. You see buildings springing up here and there.
Yeah.
It's not a wonder if they were planted overnight. Because people are seeing the potential in Lagos real estate and they are doing everything to become part of it.
Yeah, I had a client that once reached out to me. He needed a house. Like, I introduced him to off. I said, no. I cannot buy what he's not saying. Cannot buy what he's not saying. And funny enough, when the one he's seeing, the price of the one he's seeing was told to him, was like, why is property too expensive in Lagos? Why is it property is too expensive in Nigeria? This is like, that is why we're asking you to buy a plan.
Exactly. You are still a finished product. Your faith held it.
That finished product was once an off plan.
Of course. So,
and some people bought, yes.
They're making profit already. So when you are waiting for them to say, okay, we finished the product, come and buy. Of course, those ones who bought earlier are making profit already.
Wow.
So you're buying almost twice the price that they bought, when the period just started.
That's great. That's great. That means investing in off plan in Lagos is a big thing.
It's a big thing. It's a big plus.
Okay, let me go straight to your own branch, Anchor Height. Let me come straight to you.
Okay.
I know you have a project.
Yes,
presently in Lekki, the last one,
yes.
axis of Lekki, springing up.
That's true.
2-bedroom apartments.
Yes, 2-bedroom apartments.
Yes. Of how many units?
16 units of 2-bedroom apartments on 4 suspended floors.
Okay, perfect. Yes. Now, can you tell us more about that before we go?
Okay, so we're building that is what affordable luxury.
Yes. Okay.
Right. So we're giving you a place where you can actually have the peace of mind surrounded by everything you need. Access to every amenity around you. 24 hours light, the spacious living rooms and bedrooms, fully fitted kitchen.
The reason why I asked is this. Most of the developers, they promise spacious living rooms.
Yes.
At the end of the day, they give you a BQ.
That is true. Now, I think one of the problems is, that's what I said. You see this issue of desperation, trying to sell what you don't have. The layout is available. I can even show that to you.
Okay.
I cannot sell.
So hold on. The layout is available. I'm going to be dropping. Okay. What I would do is I'm going to be dropping a link to the layout on this video, so you can actually check out the layout, how it looks, so that if Mr. Jerry at the end of the day do not deliver exactly what we are going to buy,
you will see it.
We will hold him. Let's go back. Let's continue.
So the land is available.
Yes.
I cannot sell to you where I cannot live in.
Hey,
right.
I love that statement.
Yes. So
most people sell what they cannot live in to people.
True.
Because people are desperate.
True.
Just like you said, people need houses in Lagos.
Exactly.
And people are just building anything.
Very true. So we're giving a place. I actually spoke to architects and I said,
yes,
the minimum size of bed that should be in every room should be a 6x6 bed.
Perfect.
And that shouldn't cover the entire space. There should be space to move around. Maybe have a couch here and there, maybe 1 or 2.
Yeah.
But there should be enough space.
Which is a standard living room.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, for our living room, no, that's for the bedroom. Bedroom,
yes.
Our living room and our living room must have a dining area.
Okay.
Right? That's very okay. Top to bottom windows, good ventilation. I was even particular about the kitchen because when it was designed, I noticed that on the design there was no the ventilation to the kitchen was not well positioned.
Okay.
Right. So even if you have a heat extractor in your house, you still want your kitchen to be a very good place for the women that love to cook. They need to see what's going on outside.
Yeah. So, like me, I love a situation whereby when I stay in my kitchen, I'm cooking. I want to be
what's going on.
I want to be seeing what's going on in case when they say run, you understand? I would run.
Even if you have heat extractor, you still want to open that window.
Of course.
So we have to look at all of these things. The entire design is, I don't want to be on my bed laying down. Which is one mistake that people make, and I can see my bathroom from where I am. So we have to put all of these things.
That's really crazy. I've seen houses like that in these highbrow areas where you would sit on your bed or lie on your bed and you're facing your bathroom,
which is very wrong. It's an architectural blunder. So we have to look at these things.
What if I have a guest that comes into my room, my bedroom, and wants to use
and you're on your bed
and I'm on my bed?
To see all of these mistakes, we looked at all of these things, factored all of these things in to make sure that these mistakes are not made.
Okay.
Right. So we're not just building anything for anybody.
Okay, perfect.
We're building where you can actually be comfortable living, where you can actually be proud of. you know, the architectural design, the interior layout, you know, the plan that we have for each floor, you know, and the entire building is beautiful. Wow, it's beautiful.
Wow, perfect. So what is going to happen for everyone that is watching this video now? We'll try as much as possible to get a 3D. We have a 3D of the property, right?
Yes.
Then we do a video of the physical location of the place, and then see what the clearing has been done, right?
Yes, clearing has been done.
Yes, perfect.
We're actually also working on test piling.
Okay.
Where you just use the pad to check the load and all of that. Perfect. But piling is already in action. We're also okay. So I forgot to say this part initially.
Okay.
16 units of 2 bedrooms.
Yes.
We're making sure that every unit at least has a minimum of parking space.
Wow.
Right. So at least there's enough parking space for everybody that's going to live in that space. Now there's no
so that I don't have to park my car outside the compound.
It is one major thing in Lagos that I would say. People don't have enough spaces, and then they create the road that we're supposed to pass becomes the parking space for people. You know, so we're also working on that. The piling is about to start by next week. That will actually happen. I've spoken with the engineers and all of them. They'll be on site on Monday. Right. So we are very certain that what we're trying to do is the time frame that we're giving to people is actually met. And the design we're going to give to people is actually met. So every Lagos state rule and regulation
that is also very important. We're going to be talking about that under the risk. We're going to be talking about that under the risk anyway. Okay.
All of the building regulations on Lagos state, we're also making sure that we actually met them.
Yes.
You know, completely. And we signed off on all of them. So we have all assurance of what we are doing. That's my approach.
All right, Mr. Jerry, I love that. And I would like to visit your sites.
Oh, gladly.
Soonest. I will do that as soon as possible.
Gladly.
And then let's talk about the risk when it comes to off-plan and how would people avoid this risk?
Okay, so I think one of the first risks I'll mention in off-plan is documentation. Now, basically, we've heard about the Lagos situation.
Yes. Demolitions
and and I tell people that we should be careful how we actually conclude about what Lagos State is doing. It's not, they're not doing what is illegal. This is actually the right thing to do. Before you buy a property, there are some things you need to also do, some search you need to, verifications you need to
cut you short. You talked about Lagos State government not doing illegal things.
Yes.
Now let me come in.
Okay.
There was a time there's this demolition. That was last year.
Yes.
I think late last year, right?
Yes.
We had this issue of demolition here and there. I visited an estate where there was a lot of demolition. And funny enough, and fortunately for me, I met a resident.
Okay.
His house was demolished. He was sincere enough because I went there with my team. Like, what happened? Why was your... So he was sincere enough to tell me. He said he made a very big mistake. So what was the mistake? He said, would you believe that my property only has family receipt? I was like, are you for real? A family receipt for a one-story luxury building, a family receipt. How about the survey? He said the family said they would.
So he bought based on what the family said.
What the family said.
He didn't make his verifications. We've had this situation all over Lagos for some time. I've seen people buy right away. And then when government is coming and saying this is supposed to be road, you're arguing with them. Lagos has a map.
Yes.
No, Lagos has a map. You should know where it's residential. If you build a commercial property in a residential area, it's illegal. It's not the right thing to do.
You know, we human beings, we just feel things need to be done in our own way.
But there's the right way. Like you said, things need to be done in our own way. But there's the right way to go. Now, when we're working on this, I'll tell you this, on this project, we have to do our search.
Okay.
Just funny that on one side of the road is residential, the other side is commercial. So imagine we're building a commercial project in this area. We are already waiting for trouble.
Then when government comes,
you complain that they are withholding you. No, there's a map you need to follow. You know, there's a certain level you can't go beyond. If it's 4 stories or 5 stories and you can't go beyond that, you don't go beyond that. That's what's acceptable in the area. So Now, for documentation being one of the major problems,
Yes.
people are not verifying to be sure that the property has the right documents in that location. This thing is public information. Get the surveyor. Get the coordinates.
People don't want to pay.
Request for this. This is not expensive. But then again, how much will you spend getting a surveyor compared to the hundreds of millions you will lose when you buy the property without due diligence? You know? Okay, I'll give you an example. I was talking with someone yesterday.
Yes.
She was telling me that she almost bought the property.
Okay.
For 40 million in 2023.
Okay.
And she had to call the surveyor. The surveyor charged her 200,000 naira to go and do verification. And she was warned not to touch the property. She would have lost 40 million naira if she had bought that property.
At against 200,000
naira. I don't think the cost of verification, is too much to do
for you to save yourself your hard-earned money.
Exactly. So I think that's one of the major problems that we have. People are too lazy to verify. So getting the right documents is actually key. Number two, we talked about it briefly. That was developers not fulfilling their promises.
Yes.
That's actually one of the biggest fears that people also have.
Yeah.
Making promises and you're not able to deliver on these promises. It's a very, very serious situation. It has caused a lot of mistrust or distrust in the minds of
exactly,
especially those that have actually mismanaged funds. So that's another concern. Another risk again is inflation. So you really cannot predict the economy.
Yes.
You really cannot say. Let me use last year for example.
Yes.
2023, 2024 was something else. The cost of materials went from a particular price and they went 3 times, higher.
Wow.
Developers saw hell. Those who have actually, sold off plan, started asking themselves questions. A property that you've already projected to finish with, let's say, 100 million naira.
Yes.
And that's spending almost 250 million naira to finish.
At what cost?
And the man has already paid. So that can actually hinder the level.
So in situations like that, how do you manage it?
Well, it's a very dicey one. But I think that is where the human mind comes in, conscience comes in. For me, we have to speak to the people. This is not a situation that is
hidden. It's open. It's public.
So a realtor called me and said, my client wants to buy a property from you, and this is what she saw on your FAQ. That as of this moment,
yes,
this is the price. But if due to inflation, based on changes and considerations, we'll have to sit down and talk about this. And she called me and said she wanted to understand, and I said, when inflation is just minimal, that's not a problem.
Yes.
But if you see what happened last year, people had to sit down again to plan the entire thing. And at this point, you have to call the clients and say, yes, this is the current situation. This is what we charged you then. This is what is going for right now. Let's meet someone in between. Let's share this loss together. Right? So one of the issues with, off-plan is if the whole thing goes, if the cost of materials go way up, it can delay delivery.
Yeah.
Right? It might also affect quality for those developers that actually just want to do short jobs. Right? Then it might also mean you, parting with some extra funds can also happen based on the agreement you've had with the developer. Especially if he's been honest.
Okay.
You've seen what he has done.
Yeah.
He has made progress. He's not just trying to swindle.
Yeah.
Or get more money from you. If you see what he has done, and then let's hope, let's what's happening. So that's one of the risks.
I'm short of words.
It's a whole lot in the market. There's so much.
Wow. But the truth about it is that you are really breaking it down. You understand? So Those
Thank
out
you.
there, you know what exactly you're coming into face. But the truth is, these challenges, this risk, they are always very minimal. They are always not there.
Compared to the profit, to the
Yes.
benefits,
Yes,
of course.
compared to the benefit.
Compared to
So
the
if you
benefit.
ask me, I prefer buying an off-plan.
Yes, of course, it's still
Yes.
better to buy off-plan.
I prefer buying an off-plan.
It is better because if you look at the people you're dealing with,
Yes.
that's why initially we talked about the integrity of the
Integrity
people,
of the people. Yes.
right? When you deliver on projects, you make your mistakes, you learn, you
Yes.
grow. And the truth is, you will not repeat same mistakes.
Same
twice.
mistake. Yes.
The people make these mistakes, they maybe from their first project,
Okay.
right? But the truth is, if you don't start, you won't learn. That's the truth. So not because the guys are perfect, the developers are perfect, but over time they've learned from their mistakes. They've grown, right? So if you are to develop, if you are to buy an off-plan project, check the people you're buying from, right? Not just empty promises.
Yeah.
Are they really willing to deliver, or are they in the market just to collect money? We have seen jobs that are supposed to take a longer time, and then they took a very short time to complete.
Yeah.
And in less than 3 months, you're seeing cracks all over. You see the house tilting towards one direction, which is another thing to look at. So we'll talk about integrity. It's not just about not spending the money they're giving to them.
Yes.
It's also about delivering
quality.
So,
and the good thing you talked about, if I buy into your product, I will be so I have the time to be going to, or I have the opportunity to be going to your site to actually see what you are using to build this stuff.
Of course, updates will be given out all
and
the time.
which is actually a good one.
If I give you what doesn't if I give you a project that is not of top quality,
yes,
what we fail to realize is that the cost of maintenance is on the high.
Yes, exactly.
So I'm spending more money
because I will have to call you every now and then.
So I'm spending more money.
Yes,
but if I am, if I've done what I need to do, you don't really have to call me. Only for maybe some
because I think I've lived in a house some years ago here in Lagos. I woke up one morning, I noticed that my POP was divided. Like how?
Oh, so can you imagine?
I entered my kitchen, I noticed that the wall was separating. Like what I did, I just did a video and sent it to the landlord.
That's extra.
So like this should be a mistake from my engineer. So this is like I didn't get it.
Exactly. I was sort of a house that all of a sudden the guys at the bottom already complaining on water leaking down from the top. The entire living room and bedroom was flooded. At that point, you are waiting for the POP to fall. You know, now this is costing the developer more money. Something that could have been avoided
right from the beginning of the project. Let's talk about how to get started with off-plan investment.
So off-plan, one easy thing about off-plan is that you don't really have to pay for it. A lot of times. So
really?
Yes.
Hold on. I love that part. I love that part where I don't need to pay in full.
That is why off-plan is best.
Oh, really? Okay, let's assume how much is the product?
Okay, for us right now, we're selling at 130 million.
130 million for two-bedroom
apartments
in Lekki. Are you sure you're not mixing words?
Others are selling for way higher, we know.
That's what I'm concerned.
Now,
I hope you're not missing words.
No, we're not missing words. This is 130 million standard two-bedroom apartment that has everything that you need.
Wow.
Right? Top quality finishing.
Okay. You're making me feel as if I'm already in the house.
No, I'm putting the picture for you. It's a beautiful
picture. I'm seeing the picture already. Yes. So, you said you don't need to pay all.
No, you don't need to pay all.
So, like, how much is the initial deposit?
Okay, so I'm not okay, I'll use ours as an example.
Yes, I'm concerned about yours.
Okay, so 130 million naira. Make an initial deposit of 20%.
20% will give us
26 million.
Naira. That's fair enough.
You can spread the other balance.
For how many months?
There's 6 months, there's 1 year, there's 18 months. The project is actually it's 12 months spread.
Yes.
6 months, 12 months.
Yes.
So you can now break all of that down into how much you want to pay.
Okay.
Whether it's monthly or however you want to do it. The plan is that by the 12th month, you're done with the payment.
What if I exceed 12 months? What happens?
Well, if you exceed 12 months, I think one thing that most
Things happen.
clients don't understand
Yeah.
is this. No developer is wicked.
Okay.
So let me put this out there. No developer is wicked.
Okay.
If you know that at a particular period you may not meet up with the payment deadline, put a call across.
Just like on the side of the developer, also, if you know
Yes.
you can't deliver at the
Just be
time you promised,
transparent.
put a call
across.
Okay.
And say, so, and I've had this with clients.
Yes.
So that plan just it will work like that. This. Then you need this bit of extension.
Okay. Without extra interest.
Without extra interest.
Yeah, that's the part I
Of
want
course.
to hear.
The company will understand.
That is if the client puts a call through
Yes.
to explain
Don't let
the
me
ordeal.
email you first and tell you that you passed the deadline and then you're explaining to me. Let me know before time. Now, especially if you've been paying consistently.
Yeah.
Of course, we'll understand. Nobody is wicked.
Yes.
We'll understand. But we don't hear from you. There's no message from you, no information. And all of a sudden, you reach out to say, this is the situation. No. And that's where you start having issues back and forth. But I think the best thing to do is to reach out with them and say, okay, I need a bit of extension. And the company or the developer can tell you how long extension can give to you. But somehow you guys will come to an agreement. Somehow a compromise with that.
Okay, you've talked about the budgets. You talked about the budget. So what are the other things you need to put into consideration going into off-plan as an investor?
Yeah, aside looking at how much you want to spend,
yes.
You also have to look at why you're actually buying the property.
Okay.
Location and all of that. So why, in the sense that if you want to live in there, for business purpose, that's one of the things to actually look at when you talk about off-plan. Are you buying because you project that in the next 2 years you'll be getting married, right? So you must have a reason for buying off-plan property. Is it for the sake of costs? Right? So that of course,
or you just want to tie money down somewhere. You have this money. You have this money. You don't know what you want to use it for. You don't just want to waste it.
Put it there.
Just put it in there.
Because by the time you finish the project, you know that your money has already increased in value.
And another thing you talked about when we just started, you talked about being able to select that portion or your units even before the project is completed.
Yes, you can tell them what unit
what
you
floor,
want,
what unit,
how you want it designed.
Wow.
I think for me that's even one of the things.
Wow. Viewers, investors, you've heard from Mr. Jerry, the MD CEO, Anchor Heights. He has a very big project coming up in Lasso. So for you to get started with this project, all you need to do, we'll be dropping a link and a number on this video. All you need to do, call the number. Now, real estate is evolving in Lagos, and off-plan real estate project is the key thing. So if you're looking at building wealth in real estate, especially in Lagos, all you need to do is to call us up, and then we're going to hook you up with a company like the Anchor Height. Thank you, Mr. Jerry.
Thank you so much.
And hope to see more of you. And thank you one more
Whenever
time.
you come, I'll be there.
Thank you one more time.
Thank you very much.
And I wish you the very best in your project. And please have a unit in your project.
Of course, why not?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I really appreciate it.
See you again.